Zathura, A Space Adventure is a 2005 family-friendly science fantasy adventure film that didn't really do so hot and nobody really remembers. So of course I'm talking about it. It's based off a book that was the spiritual sequel to Jumanji, which was also a movie starring Robin Williams. The plot of the film sees two brothers and their totally mid-2000s era older sister face off against what the board game, named Zathura, throws at them. It involves alien lizards, stranded astronauts, four-eyed goats, sports center, murderous 6-foot-tall robots, and a brief indication of accidental incest. Instead of the exotic jungle flavor that the original Jumanji had, this was more of a space movie. When the movie was released, I was only a few years out from being a literal fetus, and so I had grown up with this movie first. Once more, it's a movie from my childhood that I distinctly remember for some reason, but everyone around me has simply forgotten. But unlike my previous video on Legend of the Guardians, the movie or book didn't become my Harry Potter or anything like that. I don't fall into a deep and inescapable depression when people say Zathura bad, because I only ever remember this movie for one reason, and one reason only. And it's not because of the story, and it's not because of the escapism I get from thinking that my house can become a spaceship, and it's not even from the general premise. It's about how they depict being a little brother.
You're a little baby!
In the movie, Danny's supposed to be 6.
6 3/4.
Sorry, 6 3/4, so 7, and Walter is a 10-year-old in the 4th grade. I'm putting emphasis on their age gap of around 3.5 years because that just so happens to be the exact same age gap that I have between me and my older brother. When he was in the 4th grade, I was also 7 years old.
Hey, Lucas! Lucas, do you want to see how high you are? What? Yeah. Look at that! And you're still the same height as this. 11 months. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Actually, that's your butt. Oh no! Oh no! Don't ruin it! Don't ruin it!
What I'm trying to say here is that I am Danny. Danny is me. Our souls are connected in the crucible of being a little brother.
Oh my god, look at this.
Oh yeah, that looks something for you about your age.
When did you get so mean?
From the very beginning of the movie, it is established that Danny is very bad at sports and any sort of game.
So, he's still better than me at everything.
No way. He's not better than you at piano.
I too am the smaller little brother who learned the piano, something the older brother didn't really take up. And you know what? I think there's some correlation between being musically talented and being the favorite child from your parents. I don't make the rules, older brother. I just report them. And the first part of the movie is solely developing how these two siblings just won't get along. You also have Tim Robbins, who plays Dad. He doesn't have a name and is only in the first 8 minutes and last 2 minutes of the film, but this brief appearance still means that it's the defining role that I think about every single time I see that face.
Someday you're going to be really happy I got you that piano. And you'll be at a party and there'll be this pretty girl.
Like you and Mom.
What up, girl? What do you say we have some sex? Here's a divorced dad trying to balance his work life with the fact that his kids are total demons, just at the worst.
Nobody wants you around!
Enough!
Shut up! Sorry.
See, I said the exact same thing when I got mad at my older brother one time and kicked him in the butt really hard while he was holding a plate of food, which he then promptly dropped, rendering his dinner inedible, and so I had to go back to my room and think about what I had done for the rest of the night. Well, in the movie, they just have to sit on the couch and look very sad while the dad goes and gets another copy of the drawing.
I'm hungry.
So, what do you want me to do about it?
Make me macaroni and cheese?
I don't know how.
I'm hungry. What do you know how to make?
Water.
This leads Danny to accidentally hurt his older brother, leading to an overreaction where someone takes it too far. Yep, that sort of thing happened.
Oh no!
Walter ends up putting Danny in the basement after somehow fucking apparating next to the dumbwaiter, which then leads Danny to Zathura.
Look what I found in the basement.
Looks dumb and old.
I like it.
The board game itself simply works by turning a key a few times, pressing a button, and then reading whatever card pops out.
Read this for me.
Meteor shower, take evasive action. Well, it says take evasive action.
although apparently these meteors are easily dodgeable. After that, they then both realize they're in outer space. I actually kind of like how they did the shot. Is this movie made with quality?
Tell her. You tell her. Lisa. Lisa!
Go away!
The two then decide that they should tell their older sister of the unfortunate predicament.
Promoted to a starship captain. Move ahead 2 spaces. Lisa, no! Lisa! Lisa, open up!
Shut up! Do me a favor. Go downstairs and stay out of my face.
For her distrust and vapidness, the game has decided to decree her to frozen death. Parts like this, where she gets frozen, are reasons I like to believe that the board games, both Jumanji and Zathura, are instead gods. Pray to not anger the board, otherwise you too will get its swift judgment. With that out of the way and another turn on the game, we get to probably the best part of the movie objectively.
Your robot is defective. That's your robot? What does it do? Anything I want. Give me a juice box, biatch.
After this frankly iconic line that should go down in movie history, you get another fight with the robot, which also holds back no punches, Jesus Christ. Danny then takes his turn, which ends up with them almost burning alive in a sun.
Inner gravity field!
No biggie, this is totally fine. This wouldn't scar you at all. No! Because of the several near-death experiences the two have had in the last hour, Danny becomes disillusioned and doesn't want to play anymore.
I'm not playing.
This conflict, though, is quickly resolved.
I want you not to be mean to me, not ignore me. I want you to treat me like your brother. Fine.
It's an imaginary board game after all. It's not like there's actual threats out there.
We're visited by Zorgons.
Well, I can't even finish it. They're immediately visited by aliens wanting to not only destroy everything they once loved, but are also hell-bent on eating their flesh.
What do they eat?
Meat.
That's good.
Dude, you're meat.
And yes, that is Dax Shepard, who plays Astronaut. He helps them hide the house away from the murderous alien lizards and also helps himself to a lot of the food. The funny thing about his inclusion is that it does highlight that the whole story has this keen awareness of how stupid the concept is, but yet still goes along with it.
The gas won't work. Any more advice? Dude, that's our food.
Yep. And you're running low on supplies.
There really shouldn't be any running water or electricity, but the lights are still working completely fine.
Or what about air? How long is it gonna last before he breathes it all up?
Wait, you're concerned about air? Do you realize there are large gaping holes in your house? The inky blackness of space should have sucked you out long before this conversation could be had. All I'm saying is that if you're a very logically driven person, this movie is an absolute minefield for questions on how all of this works.
Dog, you're eating it all.
So if you really want to enjoy this movie to the fullest, just don't really think about it logically. Did he just call him dog?
Dog, you're eating it all.
Why have I never noticed that?
Turn that clockwise there.
Yeah, I know how to play the game.
Okay.
This is another scene that hits way too close to home when it comes to being a sibling.
I was ahead of you. You cheated. No, I didn't. You cheated.
hold on,
I
hold
knew
on.
you were gonna cheat.
Cheater's a strong word. Okay, careful.
And once again, the film is on my side because Walter immediately gets ejected for cheating. Oh my god, I got confirmation I was right the entire time!
Actually, that's your butt.
Hang on, Walter! I'll save you!
This is also another scene with horrible implications, is the only reason Walter didn't succumb to the increasing nothingness that is the absolute emptiness of the all-encompassing universe is because the astronaut had a jetpack. If Danny hadn't spun the astronaut, would Walter have died?
Well, I hate to break it to you, but that's not your call.
Anyway, once coming back down from almost dying a horrific death for a 5th time, Walter is not very happy with his current situation.
Get away from me.
I haven't really watched the original Jumanji, but I love how in this movie, some turns operate like normal board games, where you go back 2 spaces, go forward 3 spaces.
Lose map of galaxy. Go back 2 spaces.
And then some lead to absolute certain death. It's actually a real Russian roulette in this movie with what the card ends up saying. With this innocuous turn, Lisa has finally woken back up. Meanwhile, the brothers are having another pleasant conversation.
That's why he cheats all the time, because he can never win. No, I don't. And you almost got me killed. It wasn't my fault. Everything's your fault. It's your fault Mom and Dad got divorced.
Hey!
Natural conclusion to that conversation.
You suck!
On top of this, Walter then gets a card that lets him grant any wish he wants, and it's heavily implied that he's going to wish his own little brother away.
Listen, no matter how good an idea seems like when you're angry, it never is. You gotta trust me on this one, Walter.
Instead, he wishes for a signed football.
You wish for a football?
I'm a Brett Favre.
The astronaut then reveals that he had played the game before and actually did wish his little brother away.
As soon as I did it, I felt horrible. You know, if I could spin again, maybe I could land on another star space and wish him back. The game wouldn't let me, because it wasn't my turn.
Another horrible and scarring implication that losing the game means that you're infinitely lost in this imaginary realm.
Where did you leave the game?
In the living room. The game's our only way home, and now the Zorgons are burning it.
You guys actually set the house on fire!
The alien lizards come back and literally harpoon themselves right next to the house, which means that the astronaut has enough time to get the game back.
He has gorgeous eyes. I just feel so safe around him.
There is absolutely, positively no creepiness I'm feeling right now knowing the end of this movie. The astronaut actually fails to get the game back, and so they realize that the only way to get to the game is with the dumbwaiter, a place only Danny can fit in. And it's here that you immediately get the payoff, the emotional climax for all of those earlier brother argument scenes.
Because I'm your brother. And that's what being your brother means. It means I'll never let anything happen to you.
I just think the problem with the movie is that these scenes are so close to each other. They want you to feel that Walter is finally accepting Danny as his little brother, but you really don't understand why. There's no character arc. It literally just goes from, I hate you, to, you're my brother and I'll always fight for you. It kind of just feels like they needed that closure because we're getting close to the third act and we need there to be a thematic story here.
We'll come and get you.
I don't know about you, but personally, if I were Danny in this situation, I would immediately start shitting my pants profusely and crying out to my mother if I had to do any of the stuff that he had to do here. How is this not one of the scariest things ever to do as a child?
Zorgons are up here. Just stay put. Pulley broke. Or figure it out. We got rope.
Once Walter saves him, the best character in the movie, Robot, then makes its reappearance, but Walter manages to reprogram it to be on their side instead.
Reprogram!
The robot then drives the lizards away again for a second time so that our characters can then take another turn to bring on yet another deadly force that might kill them. Walter then gets another shooting star wish, which makes me think that this board game really wanted him to win, but instead of wishing for this all to be over, or for infinite wishes, or world peace, or no war, or a 2D animated Guardians of Garfield TV show that would improve on the book's story, he wishes for the astronaut's younger brother back.
I wish the astronaut had his brother back.
Which brings us to the massive reveal that Dax Shepard was a grown-up Walter the entire time.
It's Walter. I'm your brother. I'm older, but I'm him.
See, I really like this twist. It's really reassuring knowing that Walter goes on to marry Kristen Bell. This also means that those previous scenes with Lisa fawning over him means that,
Oh my god! And I wanted to.
But at that same time, the lizards then suddenly come back again to then absolutely wreck the house with all of their friends for no real reason other than it's the end of the movie and we need some explosions for the climax.
Star move ahead 9 spaces. Danny, you won. I won?
You won?
You won, Danny. Beat the game.
They then thank the kids for playing and then send them into a literal black hole.
Black hole! Zathura is a black hole!
Tim Robbins then enters the movie once more and Walter and Danny are finally now good brothers to each other.
You won the game! I won the game! We're home! I beat Zathura! We're home!
You know, it's really too bad because me and my brother never actually played a board game that sent us into space to fight alien lizards who wanted to eat us, and also robots that wanted to kill us, and also future versions of ourselves that taught us life lessons and how to be nice to each other because we just continued to beat each other up.
You want to see how high you are?
I then also became the older brother to my little brother not 2 years after watching this movie for the first time, and so I had to go through the entire thing again, but at Walter's perspective. Life is torture.
You should not be in the video. Still think I have gorgeous eyes?
Stop joking about that. There's horrible implications for when he actually grows up to look like Dax Shepard. Overall, the story is about the siblings learning to get along, which is definitely why I kept watching it as a kid.
Walter, there are some games you can't play alone.
It just doesn't lift you up and stick with you like that message does in other movies with similar themes about family and getting along with each other. On a positive note, I might add that the alien lizards are mainly practical effects. And looking back, they still look really good. On top of the effects and music being perfectly okay, I happen to love specific moments from this movie as well.
I'm not deaf.
Huh?
I'm not deaf.
What?
Dad, okay.
A card came out. Fascinating. Are you crazy? Where's Lisa?
Lisa is upstairs.
You can definitely tell that both this movie stars Josh Hutcherson. Why is that so hard? You can definitely tell that both Josh and Jonah Bobo are child actors though.
Why didn't you go? I could have been killed. I was scared, but it's okay. He's gone, isn't he?
Basically, everyone attached to it went on to do bigger and greater, well, actually, no, let's stick with bigger things, and so I'm not too annoyed that it has fallen aside to be known as that space board game movie. The fact that it just so happened to have basically the same sibling rivalry is just one of those funny things where the universe aligns. It's a betterment for the movie. At least it connected with someone somewhere. At the end of the day, what I'm really most annoyed about is that Josh Hutcherson didn't grow up to look like Dax Shepard. He actually grew up to look like Josh Hutcherson, but older. I can't believe the movie lied to me.